Hello everyone, I'm Saket Bansal and today I have Shyam with me. And the idea here is that we want to explore the Scaled Agile Product Management certification program. Shyam has been taking this program as a trainer for a while. Before we talk about APM, Shyam, why don't you introduce yourself, give us a little briefing, and then we get started.
Well, thank you, Saket. I am Shyam Addanki, and I've been there in the US for the last 20 years. I started off my work as a technical programmer, especially in the Java space. Done a lot of coding in Java. I wouldn't say that I became an expert architect, but I played the role of a solution architect a little bit. And then after that, I transitioned to the project management world. I was doing a lot of PMI and a lot of PMI training and all that stuff, the PMP training. And then I moved on to Scrum and Agile. And then I've been with Agile for the last, I would say, I think from 2005 is when I was working at Siemens. That's when I started my Agile. And then I've worked with a lot of companies in the technology space, in the investment banking, in banking, in telecom space, in healthcare, in pharmaceuticals, in different roles, especially working as an Agile program manager, Agile coach. And then my last stint was at Bank of America for 2.5 years. I worked as an enterprise Agile coach at the bank. I was part of this team that was doing the enterprise Agile transformation. So at the bank, I was doing a lot of trainings on product owner and product management. And I've very closely worked a lot with the executives and the product managers and product owners. So I really understand what kind of a journey that they go through. Right now, I'm working with one of the federal organizations as a consultant in US. And then again, even now, I work a lot with a lot of product owners, product managers. So I understand this journey a lot. And especially at the bank, thanks to Bank of America, I've learned a lot of training. I've done a lot of training. I've trained people who have come from a technical product management background, who come from the product management in the banking space, in the mortgage, and also in the, I would say, in the investment banking space. So I kind of know what kind of thought process these product managers go through in different domains, because the challenges in each of these domains are different. So I think I've done a lot of talking, Saket.
Okay.
But yeah.
Thank you. So in a SAFe context, tell me something about the program, Agile Product Management, and then we explore who are the participants and who should even consider doing it. What do you feel about Agile Product Management?
So the great side of this Agile Product Management program is SAFe had actually done a great amount of work. So they had this product owner and product manager class for quite some time, almost from, I would say, the version, I guess 4.0 or maybe the previous versions too. But then again, of late, what is happening in the marketplace is the need for a product manager has become such an important thing, especially when you go to the Silicon Valley side or the New York, Wall Street, or any of the companies in India or across Europe. This role of a product manager has become such an important thing. There are, so what this course does is, most of the product managers might be doing this work very well, all like from the beginning, but they may not be taking a structured approach to do this job. So this course enables most of the senior product managers or people who are playing the role of a senior product owner, and then they have some responsibilities of a product manager. Right? It gives them that some sort of a structured approach to be able to really penetrate into the marketplace and create innovative products by really exploring all the concepts that are taught in this course. Like I said, it gives you that structured approach.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that it is primarily meant for product managers and senior product managers and they might have been applying many of the ideas which are taught in this particular program, but it brings a good structure around those things which enables them in doing their job better than before.
Yeah, and then I also wanted to add one important thing, Saket. What I've noticed is, of late, most of the companies that I'm working for, whether it's in India or US or Europe, that I talk to all my friends across the world, what they're doing is they're introducing this new concept of treating one organization. If you're working in the banking sector, it could be investment banking organization or the mortgage division. They're treating that as one big enterprise or a small enterprise. And then what they're doing is, even the fresh recruits that are coming to college, they're giving them this role called associate product managers. Right? What is happening is, these people are being asked to really come up with strategic themes, defining the vision, exploring the market segments, understanding what it means by empathetic design, coming up with design thinking, customer centricity, coming up with their own suite of products. In fact, I was talking to one of my friends. I believe, all these companies, the top-notch Silicon Valley companies, they're recruiting these kids from college. And then what they do is they let them have fun. But then again, they'll ask them to come up with innovative ideas within like 1 month from the time they've joined. That's the only work that they have. And they expect them to come up with all these things that are taught in this course. Although this course is slated for experienced product managers, product owners, SMEs, business analysts, a lot of people, I recommend this course to the undergraduate students who are coming out of all these colleges from India, US, because this course really makes them think in a different way. They become the CEOs of the company. And then this world is, the startup culture is something that's picking up across the board. They know that this is how they need to design the product. This is how they need to come up with a strategy. This is how they need to explore the market segments. Right? So I would say that although this course is meant for senior product managers to put some sort of a structure, but this is recommended for everyone who really want to become entrepreneurs, product managers, who want to become junior product owners. This is a very good course.
Okay. So what I'm realizing is that you're talking about that large enterprises also wants to create a culture where they look more like an aggregation of small enterprises. And I keep hearing in the insurance sector here, wherever I do a consulting, some of my clients are quite excited about a term called micro enterprise. And they say that we want to divide our whole organization into micro enterprises so that each enterprise delivers and add values and all. And I really like your insight that this way of creating micro enterprises or disaggregating enterprises into small kind of a startup also creates a huge need for product management skill. So if you are, because in a large organization, one guy is thinking and 100 guys are implementing. But when you divide it into a micro enterprises, maybe in every 9-10 individuals, you need someone to think and apply. So that also, and you believe this program can improve one's product management skills in a structured approach where it can be applied at a small team level sometime, and definitely they can visualize it at a large enterprise level.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, great. So and this is something like a related point which we have been discussing. So if someone is looking for a professional growth, say like the way you also explained, someone might be doing a business analysis role or might be aspiring to become a product owner, product management, how this program can help that person in achieving some mileage in getting better opportunities.
So that's a very interesting question, Saket. The thing that will happen is they get a more structured approach. They get an insight. Suppose if there is a business analyst who's been doing the business analysis, some of these things he or she must be doing for quite some time. But then again, they're always aspiring to be playing the boss's role or the boss's role. They want to become product managers, but they don't really understand what is really involved in succeeding, in thriving in that role, right? So this course gives them that kind of a structured approach. It just says, okay, as a product manager, what are the aspects that I need to be looking into? What is that, if you were to do some sort of a gap analysis in terms of what they're doing, the current state of work and the future state of work, what are the things that they need to learn and what are the things that they already know? So this gives you that understanding of what it needs to do. And then we always talk about the shuhari concept, right? In the shoe stage, they need to really follow these guidelines to the T, right? They really need to understand. Maybe it takes 6 months for them to be able to succeed in that role. And then they can go to how they can tweak these rules, and then they can be the rules. So this course, the way SAFe was organized, they really made it so well, where they make sure that they introduce the basics. It's not that you need to be a product manager to understand this. They start with the basics in terms of what a product owner role is and what a product manager role is, and then they build on the customer centricity, right? The design thinking principles, and then they go back and then say how the product managers need to build the market segments, and then they go and then they talk about different strategies in terms of exploring the market. So they take a very, I would say, a sequential approach to make sure that anybody who's attending this course can benefit from this. And then they make you do a lot of exercises too, decent amount of exercises that will make them understand. And then we as instructors or trainers, we give them a lot of context, right? So that they can apply and go back in their organization, and then they can say that this is what they need to do.
Okay, so what I'm getting is that if someone is aspiring to get into product management, product ownership role, so the first value they get is that they get a little wider perspective of product management by going through this program, which can enable them to doing a gap analysis and finding out which are the key areas they should be improving on. And the approach this program is taking is something which is easy to start, easy to grasp. So it doesn't necessarily need a lots of experience in advance. And at the same time, in the teaching approach, it's like coupled with various simulation and case studies, examples, so that people can grab those concepts and build future skills using those things. And you spoke about primarily the customer centricity, design thinking, the market segmentation, and the strategies and market segmentations, and these kind of stuff covered quite well in this particular program, which helps the people to build it, their desired profile out of it. Yeah.
Sure.
So as you said, the SAFe POPM, and I would say that based on my understanding of the market, the Scaled Agile has 3 popular products, and the leading SAFe Scrum Master, and SAFe POPM. And I would, in my personal experience, I would say that after leading SAFe POPM comes quite popular, so it's quite known. How this particular program is different from SAFe POPM?
Oh, you're asking all the exciting questions, Saket. So the fundamental differences between the product manager and product owner roles. The product manager is more like that product manager role is more like a strategic role. Right? They're focused, the whole of the Agile product management role is focused on the ROI, pricing strategies, the licensing models, marketing segments, customer centricity, design thinking, right? And exploring the customer markets. How do you design the value streams? How do you manage the value streams within an organization? And the Agile product manager role, it's 70% of the Agile product management course is on the product manager's role. 30% is on what they do with the product owners. Right? Whereas the POPM course is 70% focus on the product owner's responsibilities and 30% on the product manager's responsibilities. And then, so when I say it's a tactical role, they talk about what are the different things that the product owners do in terms of interacting with the stakeholders, in terms of working with the product managers to build the vision, in terms of working with the teams to do more tactical activities like the backlog refinement sessions, coming up with the acceptance criteria, and making sure that coming up with the acceptance criteria, and then looking into the strategies like how do you come up with the more defined and a refined backlog. And then they focus mostly on development cadence and release and demand activities. Whereas the product managers, they focus on the customer centricity, design thinking principles. So that's the difference. So this product management course, the Agile Product Manager course, is a strategic course, whereas the product owner course is the tactical course. So development cadence and release and demand, whereas this is more on customer centricity, design thinking.
Thank you. And I think that, yeah, and I think that the Scaled Agile has taken a quite smart approach where, say, both the course has the ingredients of the product management and product owner. So even if one is taking POPM program, they do get good element of product management, but it's in a less percentage. So the major focus is on a PO side, product ownership, team backlog refinement and engagement, and getting things as per the PI objective. So release on demand is something, getting things done. So I think that's more focused things in a right way. Whereas the APM program is taking the external part more, which is finding the right needs, right requirements, getting the right segment, and building the right product by doing more customer behavioral understanding. So it's more external focused, but it also has an element of internal. So it's kind of an overlap well. So both the programs can.
A little bit of an overlap. So like 70% of the course focuses on the external aspect and the strategic aspects, the licensing, the pricing models, the value stream designs, and things like that. Whereas the product owner's course is more into the weeds of getting things done, like the way you mentioned. You got to get things done for this iteration, for this PI. How do you motivate your team members?
Yeah, thank you. So the way, if I see, is like the competency agile product delivery, the scaled agile SAFe competency. So the customer centricity and design thinking is more well covered in APM, and develops on cadence and release on demand, and DevOps and continuous delivery pipeline might be more covered in POPM. So this is what I'm reading out of your explanation.
Sure. Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
Okay. So like, based on your teaching experience, like which particular topic you see the professional liking the most when you teach APM program?
What I've noticed is when we talk about what are the different things that they need to do. Earlier, we were under the impression that the enterprise agile coaches are the ones who are kind of guiding the product managers to take any kind of a framework, right? Whether it's SAFe or any kind of a framework. But now the product managers will be really excited because they have a role to contribute in every aspect of the product lifecycle. One of the things is the customer centricity and the design thinking, where we talk about the two diamonds, right? Where they really talk to the customers, empathize with them, and then go through this entire discovery process to really understand what kind of problems that customers are running into, and then discover and then define the problem in the way that makes more sense to both the customers, the stakeholders, and the dev teams, right? And then actually solving that problem, right? Coming up with the right solution to the problem by again going through that convergence and divergence strategies. That is something that I've noticed. And then I'm going to talk about multiple things here. That's one area where the product managers feel that, I wouldn't use the word control, but for a lack of better word, they feel that they have a handle on the entire product. Second area that I've noticed where the product managers really get excited is the chasm that they talk about in the diffusion of innovation principle, right? The chasm, especially the chasm that is there between the early adapters, or you call them as visionaries, enthusiasts, and also the early majority of people who are the pragmatists, right? So what happens? What do they need to do as product managers to make sure that they really have their eyes focused? What they say is once they cross that chasm, they'll be able to really penetrate into the marketplace. So if I'm coming up with a new product, I don't know, iPhone or my phone perhaps, I don't know, then I just have to really understand that I have a role to play in that chasm. That's something that we emphasize on. And then the other topics that I've noticed that the product managers like is that idea. I think they've been doing it for ages. But then again, sometimes what happens is you get so much into the weeds, but there are some theoretical concepts that you can leverage that can help you in your favor. That when they're exploring the market segments, they call about something called the TAM, SAM, and SOM, the total available market, and the available market that you can focus on, right? The serviceable available market. So in that market segment, maybe if I'm trying to come up with a new phone called My Phone, maybe I might be targeting some segments where I might be going to the colleges where people are, the kids are excited, in terms of trying out the new products. So that's something that they've liked, meaning how do they segmentize these areas? And then the other thing that I've really noticed that the product managers like is the value stream economics, right? In terms of how do they design the value streams? How can they come up with this different kinds of value streams, and what kind of a role do they have? And then when they're trying to design these value streams, I think it's a long answer, Saket, but I wanted to make sure that I cover a gamut of things that are really exciting for the product manager. So what happens is when you're trying to do the value stream mapping exercise, you as a product manager, some of these product managers could be the managing directors, they could be the executive directors, right? They're working with the enterprise agile coaches. So now the product managers become the change agents. If I'm going as an enterprise agile coach and then talking to the product managers, there's not a whole lot that you can influence on. But the product managers, if they understand the concept, they become the change agents in a company, in an organization, when you're doing the enterprise agile transformation. So when you're designing the value stream, they've also talked about the customer journey maps, right? And empathy-driven design. So when the product managers and the enterprise agile coaches are coming up with a value stream mapping exercise, the product managers can understand and empathize with the customers, because the concept, this empathy-driven design, is really taught very well in this course, where the product managers are really empathizing with the journey of maybe the product managers could be responsible for 5,000 people, right? They empathize, they understand how in this case, the employees themselves become the customers, how the employees feel, how they think, how do they react, what do they say? Going through that customer journey maps, that's taught very well in this course. And then also coming up with story maps, right? Some sort of a workflow that they create, and then coming up with different use case scenarios that will enable them to really support the transformation initiative, right? So these are the aspects. There are a gamut of things. I don't know, I think I've covered quite a few things, but this is really exciting. Product managers really love this journey. That's what I felt when I taught the class.
Interesting. And what I was feeling when you were explaining is that while going through this particular program, my interpretation, and you can correct me, the product management start feeling that they can play a role in overall transformation and overall business agility of the organization. So it enables them to part of that journey by way of start thinking about customer, start thinking about customer segment, start thinking about adaptation, how do you make product work, and then even taking it forward, looking at economics, how do we make it overall business model around the product. Because in the absence of that, many times the product manager role may only limited to, I have a product and I need to just satisfy this need which I collected from the stakeholders. But the idea of, at least for this program, is it's not just about the product, it's about the overall business model which can sustain with the help of this product. And if one gets it, it gives them a good footing into the field of business agility, I would say. So I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and you really can really summarize that very well, Saket. So now what's happening is, when you go in an enterprise agile transformation journey, the product managers feel that sometimes all these things that are getting done probably are not required. Now, since they understand why this is being done and they're engaged in the whole process, the transformation becomes easy and business agility becomes a second nature, because the product managers are engaged in the process. So I might be going to investment banking company and then they have a completely different journey. I go to pharma company, it's a completely different journey. Since the product managers really understand each step of the journey, it becomes easy for the transformation to happen and to be able to serve the customers, to be able to respond to the market needs, because they are engaged in the whole journey. And they really understand, oh, now I see what's happening, what my role is going to be. So sometimes they get an impression that the product managers might be getting an impression that it's a waste of time. We're doing all these activities that are not delivering value to the customers. But then again, once they understand the concept that are taught here, they really understand that no, actually we're doing more to the customers. And that's where the product managers feel that, oh my goodness, there's a lot of learning that they can use to go back and apply. That's what I've noticed.
Okay, so that's an interesting thing, and I'm again adding some my interpretation. So what I'm hearing is that if one is consulting enterprise on SAFe and they are in the journey of agile transformation, it might be good idea to run this particular program with product managers, because by doing that you bring a lot of empathy from product managers to overall transformation initiative. They start appreciating the whole gambit of business agility, and you may, as a consultant and coach, may get good support and good buy-in from product management and product management group. Yeah. Okay, so if someone wants to do it, so what is a prerequisite? What kind of a preparation one has to do, and how do we get started?
So, like I said, Saket, one thing that I always say is there are two ways of looking at it. One, the undergrad students who are coming out of the college, if they're trying for companies like top-notch companies in the world, right? They can really get benefited from this course. I don't say that as soon as they're done with this course, they'll be able to go ahead and then ace in the interview. But then again, what I teach them during the course is to be able to apply to their own context. One, to be able to, if they are undergrads, they don't have any context, right? They don't have any context. What kind of a context they can have? So what I say is, for anyone, this rule is applicable. Treat yourself as a product. So if you apply it on yourself, so if I'm coming up with a vision that I have for myself in the next 3 years, if I'm coming with the OKRs, if I'm coming with the target segments, market segments that I need to penetrate into, if I come up with some sort of a design thinking principles and empathize with myself as to how would I feel when I go to that journey, come up with some sort of a customer journey map for myself, right? And then come up with some features and epics that will enable me to get there, right? It'll be more, I would say, you're coming up with some sort of an executable strategy, right? So that is the benefit that the undergrads get. So in terms of preparation, they don't need to really prepare, but I would say that, before coming onto this course, they don't really need to do any learning. But then again, if they can come up with some sort of a arbitrary vision statement as to why they want to get to this course, then we can help during the course. We can partner with them and then make sure that they reach their journey by taking a structured approach. Now, for the product owners, they can go ahead and then apply it to the context, right? So they could have some sort of a roadmap too. The product owners might want to become product managers, and especially in the investment banking world, these aspiring product owners, they become product managers, directors, and then eventually they get into this managing directors roles. Right? Then they can come up with a vision saying that within 5 years, this is what I want, and then we can help them build the vision, and then coming up with OKRs, coming up with the segments that they need to get into, right? And then if there are some product owners and product managers that are working on their existing systems, they can go ahead and then they can use that context during the course so that they can go back and apply what additional value that they can bring to their own company. So in terms of preparation, the only preparation that I ask them to do before getting into the course is come up with some sort of a vision for the next 3 months or 6 months. And then we'll see how the techniques that are taught in this product management can be used to realize that vision, whether it's on their products that they're developing, on their projects that they're working on, or the personal goals that they have in terms of penetrating, especially when the kids are joining this course. So I think that's the only preparation that I'd asked him to do.
Okay. So have a clarity of some context in a product or a vision rather than a product directly. And then throughout this particular program, one can feel how the different techniques get applied, and they can come up with something which is actionable for them.
Yeah,
great. Yeah. Any final words? Anything you want to share about this particular program before we close?
This course, the length of this course is, it's a 3-day course that we'll be teaching probably in 4 different days. So it's 24 hours. It's pretty exciting, pretty intense, a lot of learning. Not all the learning that you get, you can immediately apply. There are pricing models, the licensing models that they talk about. The licensing models and pricing strategies, they may not directly apply some of these product managers. But then again, when they're talking to the procurement team, when they're talking to their marketing teams, all this knowledge that they learn here, they can really benefit from that exercise because they can really talk to the business, the marketing team in their language, procurement team in their language. They can really understand the pain points of what the procurement teams have to go through. Right? So not all the concepts that you have, you may be able to apply, but there's a substantial amount of learning, a lot of excitement, a lot of exciting exercises. And then some of them, I just on the fly, I talk to the teams and then say, guys, pick up this exercise. And then, they'll really love that because now they're able to relate it back. And the examination, we will work on the strategies that will help them really do well on the exam. What I'll do is usually I try to spend at least half an hour to an hour on what are the different strategies that will help them to succeed in the exam. Mm-hmm. The exam is meant to be pretty tricky, but then again, we'll work with them. And then they're more than happy to work with us, once they're done with the course too, in terms of the consultation as to how they can prepare, what kind of examination strategies that they need to have. But overall, it's going to be exciting, pretty intense, a lot of learning, and come up with a vision, come up with the goals, and then we'll make sure that you can achieve them because there is an approach that this course gives you to be able to reach your goals. Thank you, Saket.
Thank you, Shyam. And just for the information of the viewers, and you can find more details in the description side of this video. Shyam is running this program, and he's doing it spread over 4 days, 2 weekends, and which helps you to digest the content during the week. So that's another beauty of that particular program. And it's a virtual program. The time which we are selecting is quite suitable for the North America as well as the other part of the world, Europe, India. Most of the good amount of world will get covered in that particular timing. So if you are more interested, check the details which are available in the description of this particular video. Thank you, Shyam. Yeah, it was nice
Thank
talking
you,
to you.
Saket. It's really nice talking to you.
Hey.